Hello everyone. Today in this video we are going to study the poem A Roadside Stand written by Robert Frost. So without any delay, let's start. The poem highlights the contrast between the conditions of rural and urban people. So this poem, A Roadside Stand, highlights the contrast, that is, it shows the difference between the conditions of rural and urban people. It shows the difference in the living conditions of people living in the rural and urban areas simultaneously. So this poem is a social satire. Now you may mark this word because you may use it in your answers as a keyword. This will help you in getting more marks. So it is a social satire depicting the two contrasting worlds in the society. So this poem, A Roadside Stand, is a social satire that depicts the two contrasting worlds of the one of the rural and another of the urban people in the society. Now what is the meaning of this word satire? So satire is actually a kind of mockery. So here the poet Robert Frost has taken the topic of rural and urban differentiation as a topic for the satire. Let's continue. The poor rural folk hope that the city motorists, urban people, will sympathize with them and buy products from their shops, so that they may also get a share of the country money. So in this poem, the poet Robert Frost clearly portrays the difference between the poor conditions of the rural people and the high rich lifestyle of the urban people. So what is said, the poor rural folk hope that the city motorists will sympathize with them. So here the poet says that the rural people who live in the villages, they hope that the people living in the cities or the people living in urban areas will sympathize with these people, that is the rural folk. Now why shall they sympathize with these people? Because these people are poor and they don't get much money, right? Just like the rich people of the urban areas, and buy products from their shops. So they hope that these rich people will buy things or products from the shop of the rural people, so that they may also get a share of the country money, that is, so that these rural people get a share of the country money. Now what is the difference here between country money and city money? So here the poet in this poem draws a difference between country money and another thing is city money. So what is country money? According to the poet, country money is the minimum amount of money required for the survival of a human being. And what is city money? City money is the money that is required to maintain a rich or high level of lifestyle. Now let's proceed. On the contrary, the city people don't even care about them. So what happens? Whereas the poor rural people hope that the urban people will sympathize with them, instead of that, the city people don't even care a little bit about these rural people. Now what may be the reasons, you think? In a rural area, people do very much hard work and they collect various produces from their fields. But what happens in an urban area? In an urban area, people are very busy with their own lifestyle for earning, right? Most of you live in urban areas, I guess, so you understand it better. So even if they stop at the rural shops, they have their own intentions, like turning their cars or asking about where the road takes them. So many a times urban people stop at the shops of the rural folk. They have their own intentions, but the people of the urban areas have their own intentions that are selfish and self-centered. So we can say that these people are usually self-minded, like turning their carts, because the place where this roadside stand is present, just beside that a little bit empty space is there where cars usually turn, right? Or asking about where the road takes them. So either the urban people stop for turning their cars or asking the owner of the roadside stand about where the road takes them, or there may be some other intentions as mentioned in the book, like asking the roadside stand owner about the prices of the things that he has displayed there. Even a man came and asked that do they have oil at the roadside stand or not. So this is a very foolish question, because it's very simple knowledge that such a poor roadside stand, poor people, they can't have oil at their shops, right? So that's why the poet Robert Frost is also angry at this, and that is why he describes cars as selfish. So he has written the word selfish cars in the poem. Well, let's proceed after that. In addition to this, the party in power, that is the government, act as greedy good doers, and another term, that is beneficent beasts of prey. These are keywords, so it's better to remember this, and the more you use these words in your exam, the more marks you will get. So let's come to the point. By making false promises to the helpless rural people, the party in power, that is the government, they act as greedy good doers. The politicians, the bureaucrats, right? The government agents, they act as greedy good doers by making false promises to the helpless rural people. So the government makes false promises, fake promises to the people of the rural areas that they will help them, they will rise them to a better standard, but they do nothing. So that's why the poet is angered even more. Well, the poet, being a humanitarian, feels it unbearable and is agonized. So, the poet Robert Frost, he is a humanitarian. Now, what is a humanitarian, right? Humanitarian means somebody who thinks for the betterment of the mankind and who has human feelings, right? So, the poet feels it unbearable and he is agonized, that is, he is worried about the conditions of the rural people. The poet says that they don't deserve this pain. The poet has the opinion that these rural folk, they don't deserve such pain and they should be lifted out of this at any cost. They should be lifted out of this pain at any cost, right? Well, thus the difference in the lifestyle of the two, that is the urban and rural people, is clearly visible throughout the poem. Now coming to the conclusion of the poem. The poem criticizes materialism. So this poem criticizes the modern materialistic life and calls for a return to a more simple life. It says that you must return to a more simple life that used to exist earlier, right? Yes. Well, now I want to discuss some poetic devices with you that have been used in the poem. Well, so let's start with the poetic devices. In the line, the polished traffic passed with a mind ahead. So here The polished traffic is transferred epithet. Now what is transferred epithet, right? I will explain this to you in a few minutes. Well, let's move on to the next one. In the line, a roadside stand that too pathetically played. So in this line, personification is the poetic device that is being used, and pathetically played, it's alliteration because both the words start with P and are consonant letters, right? Well, let's come to the next one. The next we come to the line, while greedy good doers, beneficent beasts of prey. In this line, the word greedy good doers, right? This is oxymoron, and beneficent beasts of prey, this is also oxymoron. Why? Because two opposite or contrasting words are being used together, right? We have already learned about this in the previous poem, A Thing of Beauty. So if you are unable to understand, please go and watch that video. Next we come to the line, of all the 1,000 selfish cars that pass. So here selfish cars is transferred epithet. Well, so now let me explain what is transferred epithet. Let me take the help of the example selfish cars so that it will be better for you to understand. In these two words, that is selfish cars, you all know that cars can never be selfish, right? But here it is written selfish cars. So actually, who is selfish? The urban people are selfish, right? But they travel in their cars. So that's why the quality of the drivers or the people who drive these cars, their quality has been transferred to the car itself. That is why it is called transferred epithet. Well, I guess you understand it properly. Well, so with that we come to the end of this poem. See you in the next video. Thanks to all of you, and till then keep studying. Thank you.